as I pivot from the most tremendously long one shot development cycle I probably hopefully will ever do of like how many months this year, basically the entirety of this year I've spent on this one, not this one shot, but the other one that I still haven't finished. As I'm pivoting off of that and going like, okay, I never want to do that again. Construct, when you say real talk, you're coming in with a real talk. Uh, what if you put a ton of effort into something only for it to turn out absolutely terrible? So there's a lot of value in making something no matter what, right? Like I feel like this is the adult equivalent of what we tell kids when it's like, just try, right? I find myself telling that to kids sometimes. It's like, I know. Just try. I'm happy to help as long as you first try. And I think it's a longer timeline, but for adults, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that this product or this final result, doesn't really do it. This isn't the idea that I originally had, or this doesn't fit the criteria. My taste exceeds my skill set, right? And I think the only answer to that is iteration. And that doesn't mean do the same thing again and again and again. In fact, it sort of necessitates that you change it. You could think in terms of sprints. You could think in terms of like feedback cycles. You could think in terms of play testing, which is something that I'm going to try to start implementing in the stuff that I'm making. But I think that iteration that's actually the good stuff. I think that making something and getting something started is necessary, but it's also like the starting point. So, I mean, what are the? It feels so like slimy to reference this kind of stuff, but like how many cool things out there started out as something different? Um, products that go to market with one intention and then it finds out actually it has a totally different and better application use over here. So sometimes it's just about finding that fit and finding the way to pivot something and develop it a different way. Sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, and I think the key there is to make sure that the way of evaluating whether something's good or not, whether something's terrible or not, is right, is aligned properly. So, for instance, like you know, taking my one shot here, and maybe I'll play test it a couple times. Probably I should do it 6 times because there's 6 different monsters here. That's going to lead to me making adjustments. But if I'm running a playtest on my stream, well, I'm going to keep in mind that everybody's in front of a camera, which is pointed at YouTube, and I need to keep in mind that there's a certain, like this isn't me, this is me performing, right? Talking to you guys. It's no different than any sort of social performance, I guess, but it's a little bit different. So I would need to keep that in mind. Like, hey, the feedback was really good, but also like people had a lot of fun streaming online. Like that's a thing. Um, the same thing is true when showing things like these games or running games for friends and stuff. Like in the back of our minds, we're like, okay, are they just telling us they liked it because they don't want to confront us and tell us something was bad? They can tell we put a lot of work into it. Like it's fair to always be questioning that kind of stuff too. But also, if I hand out the one shot to the community and say, "Hey guys, whoever has a chance, go run this and give it see what it's like," and this is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, silly experience, and maybe a DM in the community takes it who's into like intense character role play and drama, and they go run it for their table, and they have a bunch of negative feedback for me. It may have been bad for them, it may be a bad product for them, but that doesn't mean that I should necessarily, take that advice to heart and try to change it. It's like, okay, well, that's probably just a bad, like, product market fit type of thing. Oh yeah, you got them. Play-Doh, Lego, Listerine, mouthwash all started off with totally different intents. hmm You work on something and proud of it, ask for feedback. I always say, be honest, I can take it. You absolutely cannot take it. You're that Key and Peele sketch with the insult comic, the best bit ever. What could help with that, like, so something that I'm trying to take to heart as I pivot from the most tremendously long one shot development cycle I probably hopefully will ever do of like how many months this year, basically the entirety of this year I've spent on this one, not this one shot, but the other one that I still haven't finished. as I'm pivoting off of that and going like, okay, I never want to do that again. My sort of like example North Star is, well, there are a couple of them, but a company like Valve, the ones who make they make Half-Life, Steam. They're the company behind Steam. But they had a notoriously crazy development cycle of Half-Life 1, where I think it even like restarted development once partway through. Like it was crazy. And Half-Life 1 was huge and it made, ripples through the industry, game of the year everywhere. But it had a really troubled development cycle. And for Half-Life 2, what they started implementing was aggressive playtesting, to the point that nowadays, if they're saying, okay, we're going to start development on this game on Monday, by Friday they're going to have a playable version of that game. And it's like, well, wait a minute, there's not enough time to develop art. Then the game's not going to have art. It's like, well, wait, we might just have like a room or a hallway and some text. It's like, yep, and then we're going to put that in front of playtesters. Is that story true? Is it just marketing for their process? Either way, it's my North Star, because what they're prioritizing is actual feedback from people as to, even if all it is confirming where it's like, man, this stinks without any art. It's like, yep, okay, well, that's our priority. Let's get some proper art in there that'll make this clearer. Or, hey, jumping feels weird. Or, oh, hey, like this or that. So something that could help, I think, alleviate that hit of that honest feedback hit is to try earlier to have something that is testable, have something that can be minimum viable product is what people like to say, the most basic version of a new product. Yeah. Anyway, I think that usually what's viewed as an MVP is actually usually even more aggressive than it needs to. I think the goal should be the minimum like value possible. Like the as soon as there is a bit of real value that can be generated from it, it should probably go in front of somebody and get some guidance from like real users in some way. So a good example would be here, where I could imagine a scenario where I'm dreaming up this one shot from the beginning, and I say, okay, well, I'm going to start with like maybe I'll do the table. Like I can make a table. I can make a list of NPCs, and that list of NPCs should be circulated. Like, hey, is this a good list? Which sounds silly, but it's like, okay, if there's any value in that, like that could be published. I could put that up somewhere on a page or on Reddit and see if people would use it, see if others would, use it in their games to create NPCs, and then you just kind of build from there. I don't know. Yeah, big idea is just, I wonder if getting feedback earlier and more often would help with that, like, kind of the shock value of like, I worked on this for 8 weeks and now I'm hearing this and that doesn't feel good. It's like, okay, well, what if you were hearing stuff? what if you could be hearing feedback the entire way through rather than just at the end? Maybe.